Test, one.
We'll
two.
have to clap.
Okay.
Leo.
2, 3.
Don't fall down, Jeff. I know.
I like that step. You know how many people fell down that step? I hate that step.
Good.
Yeah.
All right. Leo, I will start at the beginning.
Yeah.
How old were you when you went into the service, and what area did you go into?
Well, I graduated from Cheney June of 1966, and I got drafted. You know, back then to put the mindset right. Back then, you got drafted, and it was one of three choices. You either went to the military, you went to penitentiary, or you went to college. So it was a forced thing. And then I went into the military August 6, 1966. Went through a basic training, which is 8 weeks for those that don't understand how the process works. Then you take a specialty, which mine was infantry. My MOS was a 11B-20, and I went down to Fort Polk, Louisiana. Went through infantry training where you learn the art of killing. And then I shipped out March 27th, 1967 for Vietnam. And I was there a year. I come back March of 27th of 68. Got assigned to the D Troop, 1st Squadron, 4th Cav, 1st Infantry Division, which was known as the Bloody Red One, which is an infantry outfit. And the outfit that I was with over there is, just to kind of give you an idea what our division was about, you had the infantry, you had tank unit, you had an air unit, that were all combined with the 1st Infantry at our base in Phu Loy in Vietnam.
When did it hit you that like this was like real and like this is it? Like this is where your life's going and this is what you are committed to and this is what your job is, because you didn't grow up thinking that this is where you'd go.
Well, you know, when you're 17, 18, I was 19 years old, and at that stage, you know, you're game for anything, you know, it's just like a daredevil thing. So going through the training, you really didn't think much of it, and reality doesn't set in until you do your first kill. When you're over there, and probably, I'm going to say within my second week, I had, and I spoke of this before, I had a brand new uniform on. Just come from the States, I'm in country. I get picked to go in a squadron to go on a mission that night. It's pretty close to dark, but close to dawn. So it was like a 4 or 5 o'clock in the morning type thing. And we went in a mission, and the orders was anything, when you go into the straw huts, which was their home, kill anything that moves. Well, you know, I'm fresh out of high school. I'm going, you know, I got to physically go in there and do killing. You know, that's what I was trained to do. So I go in, and actually the first killing I done, I went into a hut. I killed Charlie. That's the Viet Cong. We know him as Charlie. And there was some movement over in the hut when I was in there, and I spun around and I killed the two that were there. And it was a mother and a kid. You know, so I killed all three of them. And today I have trouble living with that, because that's, you know, just, it didn't dawn on me what I was doing until like later on in life, that it, you know, that's the casualties of war. This is the collateral damage that gets done. And I come back that night, that day, back to where our base was, and I try to talk to people to find out, is this what we're supposed to do, and is this what we're over here for? But nobody would talk to me, because, and as I got into my tour, I see why. There's so many guys die so fast, you don't want to make friends with them. You don't want to be in a foxhole where you and I are friends, you get killed, and then it affects how I react to war. So I understood after I was there a while, why they did what they did to me, and why nobody wanted to talk to me about what I did. You were given a mission, you do the mission, you come back, you leave no man behind. I don't care what the battle is. If he's wounded or something, I throw him on my back, and I bring him back to a safe zone. And you gotta remember, at the time I went over, I was 147 pounds, which, as you can see, I've eaten a little bit since then.
Just a little. Just a little. But so that was the moment that all of a sudden it set in that, like, this is real, and this is different.
Yeah.
The honor that we're talking about right now, and that, you know, this whole community is talking about, is one that has been long overdue, right?
Yes. Well, I feel.
I mean, I think that's pretty safe to say.
Yeah.
What brought us to this point? What was the initial thing that happened?
In my mind, I feel life's a chapter. I mean, life's a book, and there's chapters in that book. And I feel if you don't get closure on that chapter, you can't continue the book. This was a void that I felt, this Purple Heart, I felt would have brought closure to my tour in Vietnam. I thought it speaks a lot. I was very humble to make it happen. Mm-hmm. I was glad it happened. But it shows that not only did I serve my country honorably, I spilled blood for this country. And I think out of the 1% that went to combat, 1% went in the military of the population, 1% went to combat. You need to let the 99% know the price of freedom. You need to let them know you put your life on the line and you're willing to spill blood for this country for a cause, the greatest country in the world. And, I'm asked something every time I go to speak. I'm asked, Leo, would you do it all over again? And my answer is easy one. I said, there isn't enough money printed or enough gold in Fort Knox to not have me wear that uniform. I was proud to wear the uniform. I was proud to serve my country. And if I'm asked to do it all over again, I'd do it all over in a minute. So, but what I want to do while we're going down this journey in life, I want to be able to teach the generations behind us what the cost was. Let them know when they salute that flag or they stand for that flag, what that stands for. It's not just a piece of material waving. There's meaning behind that flag and what we had done. Now keep in mind, I'm talking about an era when we come home, the country didn't accept us. The country spit on us. There was no ticker tape parade when we come home. So now I see the difference. I see what we're doing. I kind of think it's paying off. I kind of think us educating the generations behind us is paying off, because now I go into a restaurant or I'm somewhere and people come up and they see I'm a military, they'll shake my hand, thank you for serving, or there'll be times my wife Doreen and I will be in Bob Evans, let's say, someone will pick the check up and walk out, won't even tell you who they are. So I want to think that we, as Vietnam veterans, had something to do with that we educated the public as to what we'd done, and this Purple Heart was part of it. It isn't like when I carried the guy out of the jungle or I killed the Viet Cong, I cut his throat that day. It doesn't, I'm not looking for recognition for the medal. I wasn't thinking about a Purple Heart when I did what I did. Matter of fact, I don't think I was doing anything at all. I was happy to do my mission. That was my mission, to go stop the enemy and to be able to leave no comrade left behind and be able to do the mission. That was my thinking. At a later date, I thought this will symbolize what the cost was. And for the ones that got killed over there and come home in a flag draped casket, or the many of my brothers and sisters that did spill blood, it kind of symbolizes, when you look at them differently. They paid a price to be where they're at. And a lot of people, I tell them, because you don't see limbs lost, or you can't physically see the injuries on that veteran that you're looking at, there's what they call the hidden scars of war. They never go away. You learn how to deal with them, that's all.
But you have physical scars.
Pardon?
You have.
Yeah.
The scars. Yeah. What happened that moment, that day? What
happened was we had heard, when I say we, I speak of the generals and that in charge, that the 9th Brigade of the Viet Cong were headed down to southern Vietnam. And we the military devised 5 kill zones. Kill zone 1, 2, 3. And that's like saying, okay, kill zone 1 is going to be Liberty. Kill zone 2 is going to be Boardman. I was in kill zone 5. June 12th, 1967 till June 26th. It was called the Second Counteroffensive, which was Operation Billings. That was the title of this operations. We got in a very heavy battle, probably, I'm going to say 1,500 got injured. I think a couple hundred got killed that day. And, I got off the helicopter, I went into the jungle, I started killing real quick because we got close to getting overrun. And I heard one of my comrades screaming. So it died down a little bit, the shooting, so I crawled over to him. I got up and I seen Charlie. I thought Charlie was dead. He was next to him. So I was going to reach down, pick the guy up. I heard the helicopter coming in, so it was about the length of the football field. I thought, well, I can pick him up, throw him on my shoulder, and get him so he can get back to the Red Cross. Well, when I went to go down, Charlie cut me on my arm. I got the scar here. And then I went to get my knife to kill him, and he stuck me in my side. Thank God it didn't hit the spleen. It went in, he stabbed me. And then I cut his throat. I killed him. And then I grabbed the comrade. I picked him up as I was bleeding, brought him to the helicopter. The Captain Hudson, in fact, I had the honor of talking to him a couple of months ago, and he had given me an order to get on the ship. Well, I heard pop, pop, pop. I heard more firing going on. I wasn't going to leave nobody in that jungle. So I took the M60 off the helicopter. I grabbed some ammo, wrapped it around my neck with my, at the time, M16. Because when I first went over, they issued us an M14, and then they switched us to an M16, which was a lighter rifle. I went back into the fight, and I was there like 3 or 4 more days. And in fact, a couple of days, they couldn't get food into us, so a guy from Georgia taught me how to worms and get worms and break them and eat them for protein. And it's the first time I learned it. I knew this kid was a farmer, so I knew this guy don't know what he's talking about. So, yeah, but it was food. So that was this battle here, and there was many more after that. But that's for this particular medal here. And if I don't know if I put some thought into it, if I would have done it. I mean, that guy said, "Gee, you're a hero," or "You're this." I just think you react. I don't think it's a case even thinking about it. I think if I would have stopped and thought about what I had to do, I don't know if I'd have done it.
There are no words. We're sitting in this beautiful home that you have with your wife.
Oh, thank you. Yeah.
And there's not even a hint of that kind of stress or those kinds of moments. Like when you think about how different that place was to where you are right now.
It took a long time to get here. It's a long journey, and it's a painful journey. I'm very blessed to have the wife I have here, who's my father-in-law was 15 years Army. So I married a woman that's not only compassionate and loving to me, she also very supportive and understand what I've gone through. And I'm able to share that with her because of her dad and my father-in-law being he was in the Army and kind of being a hero in himself, that he was fortunate enough to get me this wife as his daughter. But it made her pushing me supportively to help me kind of learn the tools I needed to get by this. It isn't going to go away. If people say, "Gee, get over it," you don't get over it. What you do is you learn how to deal with it. I probably in the last 20 years been able to talk about the war, been able to talk about the killing that I've seen and done, and that kind of like brings us back to, let me go out here and educate people. And with my legacy, if I help one person before my clock is stopped, then I done my job. If I could just say, if I could just say that will be my legacy, is just to be able to help one veteran get through what I went through, and I'll be pleased with the job I've done. But let me go on record for saying I would not be the man I am today. I would not be doing what I am today if it wasn't for my wife, Doreen. Because without her support, I don't know that I would have pursued, trying to do what I do today. And there's a selfishness to it though. I and Doreen get a lot out of seeing that we help somebody, that we made a difference. That my word out here or her word, both of our support out there helping veterans and fighting for veteran issues, we know that we done something good. And it's like, God says you get paid threefold. I think I got it tenfold. I
don't think there's anything selfish about that for 1 second. Not for a second.
Yeah.
Not for a second. It took a long time to get this in your hands.
Well, what had happened? I mean, maybe let me explain. Let me explain a little bit. And I don't fault nobody for this.
No,
what had happened was there was a protocol that if you got wounded or killed, and we went back to the Red Cross, and I've carried many bodies back to the Red Cross because I was a leg unit soldier for 6 months, infantry. Then I become a door gunner my last 6 months. So I went on maybe 3-4 missions a day. We went in and got thousands of bodies and brought them back. Well, if you don't register that, let me give you an example. Leo just got wounded, goes back to the Red Cross, they log it. Leo Connelly got wounded, Operation Billings, you're awarded the Purple Heart, it's on record. Well, that was the protocol then. Now the thinking is, there's not a stenographer in the jungle. No. They're not going to stop the war to record Leo got stabbed. And I would venture to say that that battle there that I was in, Operation Billings, there was out of the 1,500 and some that got wounded, I'll guarantee you 10% of those deserving of the Purple Heart didn't get it because of the protocol. That mental thinking has changed now. Now the Pentagon and the Board of Reviews in Washington are viewing it that let's look at it. Let's get some witness statements. I had, fortunate enough, I put this through the first time. They denied it in 2004. Congressman Tim Ryan, who I owe all the credit to, he's a good friend of mine, close friend of mine, does great for our district. And I'd mentioned we got in a conference, conversation talking about the war, and this had come up. And he said, did you pursue the Purple Heart? He said, no. He said, well, let's put the paperwork in. So Herm Brewer, that is the director of Trumbull County Veteran Services, drafted it up. To me, he's a Picasso, what he does. I mean, the words he used, I couldn't look him up in a dictionary. And he put that along with Tim Ryan actually going to Washington and explaining, this is how it happened, this is what happened. I think their view of it now is differently. Maybe there are guys deserving of the Purple Heart that didn't get it. Like I just read where a Marine, I believe from Colorado, got shrapnel in a battle on his neck. Never was recorded. He just now got awarded the Purple Heart. There was another one in New York, same situation. It just was a matter of it wasn't recorded, but they did have witnesses. Like the one guy from Monroe, Michigan, he sent a witness statement saying he remembers taking the bandage off of me, cleaning it, putting a new one, and he hit me with the morphine. So we took that statement. Then Captain Hudson, which is a retired major, remembers me disobeying the order. He remembers my uniform my fatigues were all bloody, and he gave me an order to get on there, and I refused the order and went back into the jungle. So luckily enough, he remembered that, and we're good friends today. So that putting that together and their mindset in Washington now, you got to remember, I would think that people are deciding on if I get this or not. Probably weren't even born when that war was going on. They're right. 40, 50 years old. It's right. Been 50 some years. So that's how we got to this point. There was like some hills and valleys, but I'm the kind of guy, I don't give up and I don't back up for nobody. So I wasn't giving up on this. I felt I needed to have closure in my life on that part of my life, that chapter. And I knew there was always a void there. I have this coming. Nobody, and I didn't realize it until I pursued it, how important it was to the people out here in America to be able to teach them what the cost of freedom was. So and that's high price.
Worth it?
Was it worth it? Worth
it? I mean, your life now and everything, you sacrificed quite a bit. I
would think, well, I've always never left anybody behind. I was always for the underdog ever since I was a little kid. And this just validated what Leo was about. But there was a part of Leo I didn't like. There was a part of Leo that I'd like to pull the chapter out of that book. But if you got to know the whole story about Leo, then you got to read the whole chapter. There's some good stuff in there, there's some bad stuff, so, and that's me.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Carl Nunziato's a good friend of yours?
I love him.
You guys have fought together for different things in this area.
Yeah.
I know he's not feeling well, but when he finally found out that this happened for you, what was the reaction like?
He gave me the greater honor than this medal.
I know it's a tough one for me too, I'm going to be honest. That's a tough one.
Yeah. He called me up and he saluted me. Now here's a guy that lost both of his legs, suffered, ate the same dirt I ate, suffered the same pain I suffered in a different way. He's my brother. He's not just a friend, he's a brother. I love him. And today, it's 53 years later from when he lost his legs. He's has a disease in his bone that isn't curable. He may have to get somewhere down to the trough, maybe 3-4 inches more of his legs cut off, go through the pain again. Anything in this state, this handicap accessible, we can accredit Carl Nunziato's fingerprint on it. So between what Carl does, what I done, both of us sharing our blood that was spilled, I think we're getting the message out. I think we're doing the job of educating the people that don't know, and I don't fault them that don't know. It's my job and Carl's job to teach them, but. Yeah, there was a lot of Carls in my life that paid the price. I'll give you another short story. I went over with a guy after basic training. We went over together. This guy Greenlee, he was from Michigan. When you got off the plane, you have somebody there saying, "You're 1st Infantry. You go to the 25th. You go," and that was your assignment, and you went to the division they sent you to. Well, Greenlee went to the 25th. I went to the 1st. Greenlee was an African American from Michigan, went through the same training. I go through my tour. I'm going to fast forward a little bit. We go in, there's a heavy battle going on. We took about 15 bodies out. We got the call to go back in. There's 7 pinned down. They thought they were all dead. I said, we'll go in and get them from the 25th. It never dawned on me. So we go in, I pick 3 or 4 bodies up on my side. I throw them, pile them in there. And my crew chief piles the bodies on his side, and we got to pile up, and we're trying to get them to the Red Cross, but they're already dead. They're already, different things happened to them, which I don't want to take, make this a gory thing, but so I'm sitting inside. I'm in the B model, Huey. There's the C and D, if you ever see it on TV in Vietnam. The gunner is on the outside and the troops are seated there. The B model, you're sitting inside with the troops. So I'm holding my M60. I'm looking for Charlie if he's shooting at us or anything. You got to keep an eye out to protect the pilots and the ship. And I go to look, and there's Greenlee. Got killed. Now, let me tell you a little story. We got a break at Fort Polk, Louisiana when we were going through training. Towards the end of your training, you get I call it a weekend pass. Mm-hmm. You can go where you want to go in town, and kind of like a reward for your training. Greenlee and I go down to a restaurant. Now, I'm from the north. I don't understand this colored and white spigots I see outside. I see colored and I see white. And
why?
What is this all about? And I must have missed that part in my education in Youngstown, because we never practiced that kind of hatred or that prejudice. So we go in, we sit down, and we're going to get something to eat and tell each other lies and have a couple of beers before we know we're going to go overseas. We may not come back. So I said, let's make the best of it. 20 minutes we're sitting there, maybe 25. Finally, I asked the waitress, "Ma'am," I said, "can you get somebody to wait on us?" So we've been sitting there. She said, I don't want to use the N-word, and I don't wait on the N-word lovers. I look at her and I want to give up and slap her. I'm wild, 19 years old, I could care less. Greenlee grabs me and sits me down, and he said, "You sit your white butt down. You don't know what this is all about." And I didn't. I really didn't. I wasn't educated. We walk outside the restaurant, and he gave me a little education about the prejudice down here. It's for real down here. It's like Vietnam, how you get that wake-up call. I got a wake-up call with the discrimination that was going on at that time. So I tell people, you got to put your mindset to 1966, 67, 68 in that war.
They were fighting all kinds of wars.
All kinds of wars. You were fighting.
There were wars everywhere.
Being in the military, you were fighting being black or white. You were fighting the people back home, hated the war, hated you. So you had all these things, and this guy's dead. This guy gave up his life. Couldn't eat a meal in America in a restaurant with me because I'm white, and he gave his life up for this country. So when they ask me about this Purple Heart, that story goes along with it. Those are just that's just a little small part of the price that was paid for all of us. Because I always lived with Greenlee. I always lived with that, you know, the African American or the Hispanic that give up their life, or the Jewish guy that had apologized for being Jewish and being in the war. I mean, I never realized the prejudice in the South as much as I did when I got in the military. I mean, the prejudices, whether you were black, whether you were Hispanic, whether you were Jewish, they were paying their own price. They were fighting their own war, plus the Vietnam War. You know, so it was an enlightening, educational time for me. You know, and those stories have to be told, because to make it the price that was paid, the pain you went through just to get to this point, not counting the war. The pain of getting there, and you're 19 years old, you're confused. Why am I over here fighting for a country when my country hates the people that come over here to fight? Yeah, I mean, that you can probably do a whole another segment on.
I was going to say, I don't know if I have enough time today. The reason we do this show is because we want more time. And I was going to say, Leo, oh my gosh. I just, like, I can't help but just bring us back to the fact that we're sitting at this beautiful kitchen table.
Thank you.
In your beautiful home.
Thank you. Thank you.
And, like,
don't leave out my beautiful wife.
Oh, don't worry. I'm getting to her in a minute. How long have you guys been married?
We've been married going on 18 years. We've been friends probably, I'd say closer to 40. We've been friends a long time. She was the girl I'd go to find out about another girl that I wanted to take out. Yeah.
How about that for us?
Yeah. And then it was when we did finally get together, I go, wow, this is Leo with a wig. Because he's just like me.
Isn't that nice?
Yeah,
Isn't that
beautiful,
nice? I mean, to be able to sit here and talk to you in this environment, you know, it's amazing. It's absolutely amazing.
Well, you know what's so good about it, and when you say amazing, to see where we were and how far we come, it's fantastic. What I love now is where we're going to go. You know, what are we going to do with it now? Where are we going to go with it? Because look how far we come in this amount of time. I think we did great as a society.
I don't think you're slowing down anytime soon.
Yeah, I mean, so I think I wish I hope I'm here in the next 20, 30 years so I can see the rest of this book that we're writing. I think it's phenomenal, and I'm living proof it can be done. You don't have to hang over here all the time. You can move on. You can say, yeah, okay, I got this problem, but move on. Don't let it keep you down. And nothing keeps me down. Even in Vietnam, I take a twig, I stick it in the dirt, I put bullet shells, and that's how we enjoyed Christmas. You can make a positive out of a negative in a minute. If you want to stay negative, stay negative. I'm not a negative guy. You know, I'll take the worst of things and look at the most lightning thing about it and make something positive out of it. And I'm just...
And you seem to have surrounded yourself with people who feel the same way.
That's right.
And that power of positive thinking, when there's something that's negative, I think is why you've been so successful.
Well, you're exactly right. I eliminated
is that okay?
the negative.
We've been friends a long time. So.
I eliminated the negative people from my table. I don't let them sit there no more. If you're positive, you can sit with me. But if you're negative, you got to go find another house. You can't sit here. And that, I'm living proof. It's successful. You know. Just because you make a mistake, it is not a life sentence. Everybody makes mistakes. The only one I know that didn't went on the cross. Other than that, move on. You know, it's not a life sentence. Okay, you made a mistake, turn the page, go to another chapter, and it works.
You know, I'm going to want to talk to her next.
You
did such a good job.
I don't want to call.
No, put her on.
Oh, no. We'll mix it up a little bit.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
Yeah, it's, we have come a long way. You want her to sit here?
Yeah, I'm just taking it all in for a second. That is why I need to talk to you. All right, Doreen, first and last name, spell them for me. I know his, so
Doreen Connelly, Doreen.
That's good. All right. Doreen, your husband, he's a special guy. Been friends with him a long time.
Very special.
People that don't know him, never met him, never even heard his name, what would you want them to know about him?
Everything he does is from his heart. Everything. He's a good guy. He seems tough and rough, and he is, but he's got a heart as big as this house. truly.
He gives you a lot of credit. He gives you a lot
I
of credit.
earned it. For sure. Yes, he does.
He does, in a way that I think sometimes, you know, you see the person in uniform and you see the medals, and they're, of course, you know, they should be there.
Right.
But you are here, and they're sort of yours too, in a way. Like, to be able to be around and to see that process, and this is many, many years.
It's been a long journey, and it's good now everything is out. He's held all that in for years. Nobody knew.
Right.
None of his kids know. They never knew what he went through. He never talked about it. They never talked about it.
Having a place that's safe to be able to talk about those things starts at home.
Yeah.
You are the definition of that home for him.
Right.
I guess as an American, I say thank you,
Thank you.
because that matters. So take me through why it is that you are the way that you are, because that's made him even better.
Yeah, I've been raised in a family that was all love. We never fought, don't know anything about fighting, like not in war, but just as a family.
Right.
And then you have other families that never talk to each other, but we were always raised that way. And my dad was in the Army. He served 15 years. And he was probably the most loving. He's a lot like my husband. Very loving, very kind, would help anybody, anytime, anywhere. So that made me who I am today. And my mother was a war bride, and she was from Australia, and they met during when he was stationed in Australia, in India. Mm-hmm. And they met there, they got married, and he brought her back home on the boat. So she was here all by herself, didn't know anybody. She left her whole family. So we were raised in a different light that they have nowadays. It's you stay close, you have compassion, you care about each other, and you do whatever you can to help that person anywhere.
You've said it, and you've lived it.
Correct.
That's a pretty big statement.
Yeah, it is, but I do it 1,000 times. And I met the right guy. I didn't get married till I was 48, so I had a long time to be single, and he was just what I needed in my life.
That's remarkable.
Mm-hmm.
That's remarkable.
It is.
Having him go through this process in order to get the Purple Heart, that was tedious, and you have to stay with it, and you have to stay dedicated to it, and you have to compile all this information, you have to get all these big names on board. What was it like? Did you ever feel like, man, maybe this isn't going to happen, or maybe he's never going to get the closure that he really needs, and what do I do then? Or did you just stay focused?
No, we just stay focused. We just keep trying, and he did. He kept trying, and don't give up. He doesn't give up. So he knows a lot of people because he does so much good. So all the people that help him are all the people he's helped in some way. And that's just made it easier for him to accomplish this after those years. It's just, he didn't go for it earlier in life. He went for it later in life, which it was hidden. So I'm glad it finally happened because he got good friends that really helped him, all of them.
When you see all the people that you guys impact locally, regionally, nationally, I mean, let's face it, like the conversations that happen here but in this home probably impact people that have no idea who you guys are.
No, it does. It helps anybody who's any family member that has to do something in their life. It gives them a positive outlook that you can come out of it as a better person and get what you have coming to you. You deserve it.
There are a lot of spouses, husbands now and wives, that have to navigate what the definition of their life is going to look like after their loved ones come home from serving this country. It's something that's happening to this day, on this minute. We are on President's Day. What advice would you give them, and to be so mentally strong? How do you do it?
It's hard for the wife, with children, raising them alone and everything. I didn't have to do that, fortunately, but I know it's a hard struggle for them, and they just give him the best you can give him and support him because he needs that. He's away. He's not home safe. He's fighting for us. So you got to be strong for him and love him and support him. That's all you could do.
Unbelievable.
I know.
You wake up every day You have him here. You guys have, you know, a beautiful kitchen, beautiful home, what appears to be, you know, the most normal life. And the story is anything but.
No, it's true. You never know what's behind closed doors. You just don't know. And I'm glad it came out. I'm glad this is where he is today, and all his medals, and he stands proud to be serving his country all this time, and he'll do it. He helps every veteran I know get whatever they got coming. And their wives, when they die, and he helps the wives get their plots, whatever they need. He's there for them.
That's an interesting statement right there too, because he's giving of himself to so many other people. Do you ever feel like you don't get enough?
No,
is that a fair,
no, never.
fair
No,
question?
never. No, I get plenty of him. I'm glad when he goes and helps. I'm not gonna lie, it's good to get him out of here for a while. No, it's good. It's good for him, it's good for me, and it's good for the people he's helping.
What have you done? What was your career? What did you do for most of your life?
I was a bartender. 35 years of my life. I worked back in the day at the living room, all the fancy high-class restaurants. I did it, and I loved it.
You have made a living listening to people's stories.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
That's what you've done,
I'm a therapist.
right?
Until they drink the alcohol and they change. But other than that, I'm good.
Then you just kick them out, right?
You gotta go now.
Kick them out.
Right.
No more here.
That's right.
That's an interesting. That's I don't know. When you see so many different kinds of people with so many different realities, that has to help give the reality that you live in.
Yeah,
a
we're
lot more-
people person. I mean, we
people.
love people, so it's not hard for us to help, talk, do anything to help one another.
What are you proudest of over the past 20 years? One single thing that you are the proudest of.
Proudest of the man he's become. He wasn't a good man, but he's come a long way,
You've
and
seen
he
that.
earned it.
He said there are chapters there that he wishes he could take out. Recognizing that and being able to say that must mean something to you.
Yeah, because everybody makes mistakes. Nobody's perfect, and he made a lot, but he's a better man for it. If you come out better from being bad, that's a good thing.
What is it? I don't know, like addiction, or I don't know, like what happened really? I don't know. Can
He's
I
had
ask
a
that?
lot of things. Yeah, he was an alcoholic. He gave it up.
So you've seen that side of it too, though.
Yeah.
Let's face it, like that was your job. So when you see those kinds of behaviors with the person that you care about the most, you gotta say, or help them find the right way.
Yeah.
Can you talk to me about that a little bit, Leo?
Well,
I don't know. Is that
he was
okay?
more positive to do it on his own. He knew what a idiot he was, you know, and he wasn't making himself a better man, and he stopped it on his own. He did, you know,
It was probably a Band-Aid of sorts, right?
yeah. That's what coming home from the service, that's all they knew how to do was drink, and nobody talked about anything, so he was drunk every day of his life. Smoking cigarettes, getting drunk, that's all you knew. Then he was not a nice drunk, he was a mean drunk.
Is that how you met him?
Well, I met him in the bar, yes. But I knew him when he was a drunk.
And then you said, and then you changed.
But he was always a nice guy.
Right.
He was always a good guy. It's only when he drank that he turned into that
It just
other person.
flipped a
Yeah,
switch.
but he's always had a good heart. Even back in the 70s, he was always a good guy. It's just, he would help people back then, not military-wise, but just people.
And you watched it.
Yeah, I've seen him. He's always been kind.
So when he made,
Always smiling. You never thought there was something wrong with him.
right, of course
Yeah.
not. So when he decided to no longer do that, what is that when? Where were you guys in your relationship or your friendship?
But when we got together, he was not drinking at all. Because I had moved and I come back and I ran into him somewhere. I forget where we first met. And I was working at the Winter in Sharon, and he was over there, and he said, let's go to lunch. And so we did, and then after that, that was it. We just started dating.
That's incredible. That's incredible.
Yeah.
Him making the decision to no longer use that as a Band-Aid and being able to come home and feel love in an unbelievable way has got to make the difference every day, I would think.
It does. every day. It made him who he is today.
You replace something super bad with
Yeah.
something super good.
Yep.
Anything else you want to say? Anything else?
No, I appreciate you coming and taking the time out for him.
My pleasure.
Yeah.
Our pleasure.
Yes. All of you. Thank you. And I didn't want to do this, but
I know
I'm
you
gonna
didn't,
forgive
but
you.
I'm sorry. It's part of it.
I know.
All right, darlings.
All right, thanks.
Leo, I'm sure you didn't know. Sorry, I'm like you guys are. This is how
Yeah.
it opens people's minds.
Well,